Mark chapter 5, verse 25. And a certain woman which had an issue of blood 12 years, and has suffered many things of many physicians, and has spent all that she had, and was nothing better, but rather grew worse. And when she had heard of Jesus, remember that, when she had heard of Jesus, came in the press behind and touched his garment. For she said, if I may touch but his clothes, I shall be whole. And straightway the fountain of blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of that plague. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that virtue had gone out of him, turned him about in the press and said, who touched my clothes? Amen. Amen. My focus verses today is verse 26 and 27, where I would get my subject. And verse 26 and 27 reads, and has suffered many things of many physicians, and has spent all that she had, and was nothing better, but rather grew worse. And when she had heard of Jesus, came in the press behind and touched his garment. Today I'd like to talk about turn to Jesus. Turn to Jesus. And today we find a lot of people turning to different life coaches. In the morning on around 7 o'clock, between 7 o'clock and 7:30 every morning, I kind of turn the radio on, and I find out there are some people turning to Steve Harvey to fix their relationship. Turning to air personalities to fix their relationship. Also, last night I happened to turn on Oprah's channel, OWN, O-W-N, OWN, and I saw the sister, which is a life coach. And I find a brother that had fathered 34 children by 17 different women was turning to Yalla, right, to fix his life. And then throughout the week you'll find folks turning to Dr. Phil to fix their life. And even this morning I was checking my phone and someone hit me up on Facebook and mentioned that they had turned to Dr. Oz to help them lose some weight. So you will find that people are turning to air personalities, TV hosts, and turning to life coaches to fix their life. People that are broken, people that are sick, people that are not whole are turning turning to others to fix their life. And so I want to let you know in the text this morning that you will find in the Gospel of Mark, everyone turning to Jesus to fix their life.
Yes, sir.
And it's evidence in Mark chapter 1, verse 47, when the disciples said to Jesus, "All men seek thee." You find that the hungry was turning to Jesus. You find that the thirsty was turning to Jesus. You find that the homeless was turning to Jesus to fix their life. You find that those that were demonic was turning to Jesus. Everyone was turning to Jesus to fix their life. I want you to know today, throughout the gospel written by Mark, you can find all kinds of people turning to Jesus to fix their life. I believe that John wrote this gospel so that everyone would turn to Jesus to fix their life. And I want to know how many of you today have turned to Jesus to fix your life. And so, John Mark wants everybody to turn to Jesus in order to fix their life. In Mark chapter 1, verse 23 through 28, you will find that a man with an unclean spirit turned to Jesus. In Mark 1, 29, 31, you will find that Simon's mother-in-law turned to Jesus to be healed. In Mark 1:34, the Bible tells us he healed many that were sick of diseases and cast out many demons. In Mark 1:40, a man with leprosy turned to Jesus to be healed. In Mark 2:3 through 4, a man sick with palsy was lowered through a synagogue, a church rooftop to be healed. Everyone was turning to Jesus. Everyone was trying to get to Jesus in order to get fixed. In Mark 3:1 through 5, Jesus healed a man with a withered hand on the Sabbath. Everyone was turning to Jesus to get fixed.
Thank you.
And I want to know today, are there anyone today need to be made whole? Anyone that needs to get fixed today? In our text today, you will find a woman with an issue of blood for 12 years turned to Jesus to be healed. And I want you to know that, oftentimes we have to pay a lot to get healed. We have to pay a lot to the doctors in order to receive healing. But I want you to know that this woman could not pay Jesus in order to get healed because she had spent all that she had in order to get healed. And I want you to know that like Dr. Phil and like Dr. Oz, I want you to know that they made her worse. See, you can turn to some of these life coaches and they'll end up making you worse.
Yes, sir.
But she kept coming and pushing toward Jesus, knowing her life could change and would change if she could just touch Jesus. And she didn't let the crowd keep her from Jesus. At what point do we turn to Jesus? Is it at the point that we have lost everything that we have or spent all our money on palm readers and doctors trying to get healed? Someone know what I'm talking about.
Go ahead.
This morning, Dionne Warwick used to come on about 10 years ago, and there were folks turning to Dionne, trying to get healed. At what point do you turn to Jesus? When do you turn to Jesus? And she didn't let the crowd keep her from Jesus. Is it when you have tried everything else? Is it when no one else can help us? When the nurses' aid are no longer around? Is it when our money run out that we turn to Jesus? Is it when you have no one else to turn to? When do you turn to Jesus? When the drugs no longer works. When the alcohol no longer works. You got some folks turning to medical marijuana to get healed, to ease the pain. And at what point do you turn to Jesus? And I want to make 3 points about when you turn to Jesus. And 3 points in this text that you will find that after she had tried everything else, I want you to know point 1, she tried Jesus. And point 2, that not only did she try Jesus, she touched Jesus. And then point 3, I want you to know that she trusted Jesus. So you have to try Jesus, and you got to get close enough that you feel that you have touched Jesus. And then you have to trust Jesus in order to really get your healing. And in Mark 5:25 through 27, she tried Jesus when she had spent all that she had, when nothing else worked, when her situation got worse, when you have tried everything else, you turn to Jesus, you push your way towards Jesus. But I want you to know that it says in verse 27, when she had heard of Jesus, someone told her about Jesus. It's when you hear of Jesus that you end up trying Jesus. Someone told her about Jesus. She had heard about Jesus healing the blind, healing the sick, healing those that will suffer. And that's when you turn to Jesus, when someone tells someone else about Jesus. And so the text says in verse 27, when she had heard of Jesus, she came in the press behind him. She came in the crowd and touched his garment. So what point do you turn to Jesus? In Mark 27, the Bible said that she touched Jesus. When you get to the place and the point that you have to reach for Jesus, you try to get close enough that you are able to touch Jesus. And I heard a preacher one time say that, can nobody get closer to Jesus than I am? So you got to get so close to Jesus that you feel like that you have touched Jesus. And so there's some folks right now that's too far away from Jesus in order to get healed. There's some folks today not able to get healed because ain't nobody told them about what Jesus can do. So even Jesus said he come for those, not those that are righteous. And so they wanted to know why Jesus was sitting with sinners, hanging out with sinners. Because those are the folks that need Jesus. Have you ever need Jesus? Everybody in here should say, I needed Jesus at one time. Because we all have fallen short of the glory of God. Am I right about it? So when you get to the place and the point that you have to reach for Jesus, you will end up trying to touch Jesus. You will end up trying to sneak up on Jesus. You have to try everything else. And you move closer to Jesus. And when you go from fear to faith, you move closer to Jesus. You see, when your sickness gets so bad that you fear losing your life, that's when you turn to Jesus. When nothing else works, you end up turning to Jesus. Now, anybody in here felt like when nothing else was working in their life that they turned to Jesus? Turn to Jesus. And so when you hear of Jesus, you move closer to Jesus. Your faith will make you what? Whole. When you end up turning to Jesus, you don't give up because of people around you talking negative about you, telling you that you're not clean, that you need to change your clothes, that you need to go home. See, in church, you're not going to get along with everybody. The reason you're not going to get along with everybody because everybody ain't trying to get close to Jesus. I might as well talk about it. Y'all know some folks that's not that close to Jesus to where you are. And so the reason you having a problem with folks because they haven't got close to Jesus in order to touch Jesus. And you don't give up because of people around you are not trying to get close to Jesus. Here you are coming every week trying to get close to Jesus and someone getting in your way. But you got to press on anyway. Jesus! You got to keep going anyway. You can't let nobody keep you from Jesus. And you got to keep pushing. You got to keep pressing your way towards Jesus. You got to keep coming. And some folks stop coming and then their life never change and they never get close to Jesus.
Preach on, preacher.
Getting closer to Jesus where you can feel that you're touching Jesus. And then third, you have to trust Jesus. Look at verse 33. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what was done in her, came and fell down before him and told him all the truth. Now, you ain't going to tell the truth if you don't trust somebody. The sister gave her testimony today. She's not going to tell the truth if she don't trust Jesus because she can't trust us all the time. But she told the truth because she trusts what the Lord had done for her in her life, done for her and her family, done for her and her husband. And so you could tell it, you could tell your testimony what the Lord has done for you because you trust the Lord. And once you turn to Jesus, you ain't afraid to tell it. You ain't afraid to tell it that Jesus got you up off your sick bed. You ain't afraid to tell it that Jesus helped you pay your mortgage. You ain't afraid to tell it. Jesus! Thank you! See, some of us can't tell it because we don't trust Jesus with our life. I ain't afraid to tell it. Y'all know I'll tell it.
Preach on, preacher.
Jesus been blessing me. I'm getting closer and closer every day. That's why I keep coming Sunday after Sunday. I don't mind paying my tithes and offering because I trust the Lord.
He's all right. Yes, he is.
I know there's some folks that I tried to call on, but they never answer like Jesus answered. You got to trust the Lord. And so this woman with an issue of blood, she tried every doctor, won't you try my doctor? Oh, your doctor ain't nothing but an eye doctor. I don't need an eye doctor. I need a doctor that knows what he's doing. Jones River tried the wrong doctors. You better know who you turn into. You better turn to Jesus before you turn to the doctors.
Preaching up in here.
And so I want you to know that when you know that you have been healed by Jesus, you can tell it to Jesus. You can talk to the Lord. Have you ever talked to the Lord about how the Lord has healed you, how the Lord has taken care of you, brought you over the bridge over troubled water? You give the Lord all the credit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know those doctors, they were all right, but hey, I saw my sister get the Lord credit. So you trust Jesus that you can tell the Lord. And that's who you tell. Jesus said, who touched me? And she stood, she came right on. You know, it was me. It was me. Some of y'all can't tell the Lord, can you? You tell your friends though, and then they tell everybody. Tell your business to Jesus. And you ain't got to worry about hearing from nobody else. Once you tell it to Jesus, they know you ain't embarrassed. They'll be like, but don't you tell nobody. Don't y'all tell nobody I'm going through hard time. I look good. I perform good. So why you tell? I didn't want nobody to know that. But tell it to Jesus, and then you don't have to worry about Jesus telling nobody.
Thank you, great shepherd, Jesus. Yes, sir.
Tell Jesus all about your troubles. Go to Jesus and tell him all about your troubles. So you gotta trust Jesus. Does anybody in here trust Jesus? Anybody in here trust Jesus?
We love you, Jesus.
So you got a lot of young folks in here. I want to know if they trust Jesus. See, one day you may be in good health right now, ain't nothing broken. But one day you're gonna know what I'm preaching about. Am I right about it, sister? Am I right about it, brothers?
Preacher.
When you go through something,
Yes, sir.
when you've been through something, how many of y'all been through something? That's what I'm talking about.
Faithful.
I'm raising my hand too. I've been through a lot. I can count how many friends I got. Oh, what a friend I have in Jesus. I don't mind telling it. I don't have that many friends, but I got a friend in Jesus.
He's all right. Preach, man.
But the good news is that God turned to Jesus to fix our situations. God turned to Jesus. And then God asks us to turn to Jesus. After God turned to Jesus in order to turn us over back to God, and they put him on the cross, they hung him high, stretched him wide, put nails in his hand, nails in his feet. God so loved the world that he gave us his only begotten Son, that whosoever turned to Jesus And so when you can't tell your friends what you're going through, when you can't tell your children what you're going through, who do you trust
My Lord.
with your personal information? Who can fix it?
Oh, yes, he can.
Who have you tried?
Yes.
Tried a lot of folks where it didn't work. What touched you about Jesus? So when you get close enough to touch Jesus, you'll find out that you have a relationship with the Lord. You don't mind serving the Lord. You don't mind telling somebody about the Lord. And I want you to know that this woman, 12 years, and some theologians said her name was Veronica. She had a problem, a bleeding problem. And some said that it probably was with a menstrual cycle, that she couldn't stop bleeding. Went to all kinds of doctors. And so, you get to the point that you have to trust someone other than the doctors to pull you through. And I come today to tell you to trust Jesus. Not only to trust Jesus, try Jesus. And not only to try Jesus, get close enough, develop a relationship where you can get close enough to turn Jesus around and touch you. And it says that Jesus turned and he looked round about to see her that had done these things that had touched him, that had got close enough to him. And so, today I come telling you to trust and try Jesus. Get close enough when you're going through a situation that you can receive your healing, that you can receive your blessing.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes folks gonna try to keep you from getting close to Jesus. Gonna try to keep you, gonna try to block you. But you keep coming.
Yes, sir.
And you keep coming. And you keep pushing. And you push your way. You gotta be determined, you gotta be persistent. And so when the Lord knows that you are determined, that you are patient, that you done tried everything. See, the Lord sometimes allow us to try everything else. And guess what? At an early age, I had tried everything. But let me tell you something. When I was in college and I finished undergraduate, I knew everything. Some of y'all right now that just graduated a year ago or whatever, or getting ready to graduate, you know everything. You've done everything on a college campus. You've been to every party. You don't try everything. And one day, I was sitting with a brother of mine that I grew up with, my best friend. And we was getting high. And I looked at him and I said, Johnny, this is it. I said, no more. He said, what you talking about? He had the old 8, what do you call that? That beer, old 8? Yeah, old English. It's been so long ago. We had joints. And I said, Johnny, this is it. He said, what you talking about? This is it.
That's right.
It's over. What's over, man? Man, I done tried this, bro.
Jesus.
It ain't working. I got some folks that care about me. I want to get to know the Lord. I'm going to try Jesus. I done tried this. This don't work. This don't work. I got to change my life. I'm going somewhere. Where you going? I'm going to try Jesus. If you want to go somewhere in life, and if you want to be successful in life,
yes, sir.
You can't be more successful than trying Jesus.
Jesus.
And you're going to have your ups and downs, but you keep coming.
Oh yeah.
You keep pushing. That woman kept pushing for 12 years.
Jesus.
She kept going for 12 years.
Oh yeah.
12 years. I ain't talking about 12 years of slavery. Man, I wouldn't go to the movies to see it. I watched that at home. I'm glad I didn't go. Oh Lord. We don't need to win no awards on slavery. We don't need to win no awards for taking our clothes off. We need to win some awards for trying Jesus.
Yes, sir. That's a word there. Yes, sir.
Don't wait until it's too late to try Jesus. I'm talking to somebody in here. If you're broken, try Jesus. If you're homeless, try Jesus. If you're thirsty, try Jesus. If you're hungry, try Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Try Jesus.
Jesus.
If you're suffering, whatever you're going through, try Jesus. Try Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Before it's too late. God bless you.